taking on board their issues on the local level. At the moment we have an MP that's involved in an awful lot of international trips, but he doesn't seem to get involved with Preston as he should do. I think that the constituency MP should live and work among these constituents and answer letters and answer emails. For example, the market traders at the moment have got a big issue going on, which has been reported widely. We went to meet them last week, and the MP has been written to twice since January about a highly emotive local issue, and he's not even acknowledged with an email reply just to acknowledge that he's got the communication. So I think what I would do is I would definitely continue to market Preston, UCLAN in particular, local industries, but represent Preston and live and work amongst Preston people, because I think that's the only way that you really get a feel for a community and get to be actively involved. I mean, obviously, as an MP, I won't be able to implement the kind of changes that we would like to do in the council level. That's more to do with council seats than it has to do with local seats. But basically, I'd like to carry on the development of Preston as it is, because Preston is, without question, probably the most advanced of the market towns: Burnley, Blackburn, Accrington, Bolton. If you travel around these areas, they don't have this kind of vibrant, multicultural economy that Preston has, and that's all down to the university and the vision of people. I've been here 9 years. I've never known a year go by without there being major roadworks in the city centre. The park, Avonham Park, I would look to actively engage private enterprise in developing the park more, to bring it into line with somewhere like Richmond upon Thames, which I know very well. Avonham, I think, is the jewel in the crown, Preston, and also city centre parking. I'd make that free in conjunction with the council after 3 p.m. during the week, which again is an idea put forward by the market traders, which the council have refused.
Would that be to help the market traders improve trading, basically?
Well, not just the market traders, but it would bring more vibrancy to the city centre at a time of day when it's quiet and it's, you know, the city centre kind of winds down from 3 o'clock. So it'd encourage people to come into the city centre, to use the shops, to use the market, and just to take part more in, you know, that part of town. I'm talking about the municipal car park.
Yeah, so you wouldn't be able to do it with the private car parks,
no.
But you could do it still, it'd help a lot.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, obviously you mentioned the last 10 years, they're having a vibrancy with the city and the whole, it's all developed really well. Wouldn't that be an argument for local constituents to see Labour to do the work they've already been doing? Obviously with Labour people on the train, Virgin train up to the city and a lot of other things. Wouldn't that be another argument for constituents not to vote for you?
Well, the fact that we've got the Virgin connection to London is purely and simply that we're on the main line from Glasgow and Edinburgh, and I use that all the time. That's nothing to do with the Labour Party. That's more to do with Virgin themselves, and it is a fantastic connection. I can be in Euston in 2 hours 15 minutes. This is why we strongly oppose HS2. It's a vanity project that's going to cost billions and billions of pounds, where that money could be spent far, far better in the infrastructure of the local northwest towns, the Yorkshire towns. At the moment we're seeing a lot of these northwest market towns, industrial power bases like Bolton, Burnley, all these kind of areas that don't have the facility that UCLAN have, and they're in deterioration. I mean, my hometown of Bolton is just slowly going down the tubes. So I think direct investment in infrastructure is far more important than vanity projects like HS2. To give you an example, if you want to go from Preston to Leeds, that journey will take you an hour and a half. You'll have to make 2 changes. So 3/4 of an hour later, you could be in London. So we need to look at regional connections rather than taking 40 minutes off journey times between.
Nigel Farage, the party leader, has come out and said that the Muslim and Islam is a fifth kind of column in its society. How would you appease that society, the ethnic minorities in this city, to show that you do support them in the same kind of realms?
There's a very small minority within the Muslim community that have this ISIS mentality, and it is a very, very small minority. I mean, I have friends in business in Preston, Bangladeshis, Sikhs, who are not only part of the community, but they're extremely proud to be British as well as the religion. And what we're trying to do is encourage diversity, but at the same time make everybody in every community responsible for the United Kingdom. We live in the United Kingdom, so we should respect the laws of the United Kingdom. So we're against female mutilation, FGM, strongly against it, which we will crack down on. Forced marriages where it's proven. I think it's up to community leaders to take a lead in these particular issues, but as a party we would look to implement strong laws. Yeah, and what you've seen going on with the grooming and things like that in Rotherham and other areas in the north, you know, this is where multiculturalism has gone too far the other way, because people in positions of power are scared of doing anything to offend, even when they're fully aware that wrongdoing is going on.
Yeah, definitely. Would you seek to strengthen that kind of stance on the criminality that is happening within the radical part of Islam? How would you seek to try and make sure that that people in power wouldn't be scared of the minorities in a sense, wouldn't be scared to put the law back on them?
I'd like to see a lot more leadership from local communities that have these people within their communities taking, you know, far more responsibility and maybe doing more whistleblowing on things like this than we've seen at the moment, because as the evidence has come out about Rotherham, lots of people in senior positions, both within the community and within the council, knew what was going on, but nobody had the guts to stand up for the girls who were the victims at the end of the day.
Definitely. Recently, a lot of the government recently has put forward a lot of restraints against whistleblowers, and you've come out and not threaten the family, but threaten their livelihood, which ultimately affects the family. Would obviously you as a party and you as a candidate for the Parliament be against that?
Are you talking about the Official Secrets Act?
Yes.
Yeah, I think the latest revelations regarding Parliament again surrounding the allegations surrounding Cyril Smith and Leon Britton, I think we really have to look hard at the rules and regulations of the Official Secrets Act, because if people are so scared of coming forward in terms of the pensions, in terms of the statutory rights, then that really needs to be looked at again. Because we need people to be able to come forward, and you know, the evidence last week seems to indicate quite clearly that the Met knew about this, but it was all hushed up. Various people had pressure put on them. Well, in a modern society, that can't be right. It really can't be right. Duncan Carswell, and even with the Tories with Zach Goldsmith, they don't conform with the majority, but they stand up for a lot more political reform, which is really what we're...
So here, NHS is a big topic which has been going on in the general election in a minute.
We're all about social care as well, so there isn't the pressure on the hospitals in this area. We've already stated quite clearly that we would ban car park charges in Preston at the Royal Preston Hospital. We feel that that's a very unfair tax on people that are either visiting or having treatment. We don't think that should be applicable anywhere. We've said already in our manifesto that the money that we will provide extra for the NHS will be funded by our withdrawal from the EU, which is currently costing $9 billion a year. So more investment in the NHS, the armed forces, taking people out of taxation on the minimum wage. I mean, ours is the highest numbers in terms of £13,500. Below that, you will not be taxed. So that's where we appeal to people who really are retail, low-paid jobs. You know, really, they shouldn't be paying tax in this day and age.
Especially at minimum wage, it's tough to kind of make a break as it is.
Yeah, you've got rent, you've got rising costs. There's no pay increases now for a long, long time. We obviously go out into the communities, and all that we see is people in small business not being able to increase the prices because the market just won't stand it, because people aren't spending money. It's all very well to talk about the London economy and the home counties, but that is a million miles away from what's actually happening in Preston. But from what I've heard, we will support the minimum wage increase.
Yeah, you see a lot of retailers, and you see a lot of retailers popping up. So obviously you've got Fishergate, that's all retail heavy. Would you seek to diversify the economy to try and bring a bit more business to the economy? There's a lot of brown sites that haven't been used, a lot of unused factory sites in a sense. Would you try and diversify and sell that kind of market to potential private business?
Yeah, definitely. In terms of development, we've got a clear policy on brownfield sites where any development that's made on brownfield sites, that houses that are being built on brownfield sites would be exempt from stamp duty on the first purchase, which is a way of encouraging people to develop brownfield sites. I think Preston in particular, we've seen an awful lot of development of the city centre with student accommodation, new modern student accommodation, as against the old landlord with the terraced houses. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that if they're good landlords. I'm a landlord myself. But if you have more modern facilities close to the city centre, as we've seen in Manchester over the last 15 years, you've got an awful lot more of a vibrant city centre, more people actually living in the city centre rather than it just being a deserted area at night time. And Preston's great for that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. One interesting thing about the builds on brownfield sites is obviously it creates employment, but the big thing about employment is a lot of the poor employment that's being given. Also there is poverty employment that's from people poor. So what would you do as a party, or your personal opinion on the 0 hour contracts that are given out, people ringing about 6 o'clock in the morning to see if they've got hours? Would you like to see a stop to that, or more restrictions on that kind of policy?
I think 0 hours contracts might be a fine concept. This is my opinion. Are a fine concept if they're in the hands of responsible employers. They can work in the favour of the employee, but where they are being abused, and they are being abused, then we need new legislation to control that. And that is definitely something that needs to be looked into.
Definitely. Would you be in support of getting that new legislation?
Definitely, yes. Yeah.
So one thing we're going to jump on now to, I thought we'd go into the local issue, would be the fracking situation we've got in Preston. Obviously there's 2 sites of the planning commission. Just off the bat, what's your personal opinion and the party's opinion of shale gas? The fracking issue, I know there's a lot of local things on the file, etc. The fracking issue is, it needs an awful lot more research. There needs to be due diligence. I know that there needs to be an awful lot more R&D on this subject before we get involved in it. I mean, the party policy is pretty open on that at the moment, again reflecting more research, more development in terms of safety, the impact on the local communities, that kind of thing. So I think we're a little way off saying one way or the other whether it's a good or a bad thing. And I've been out on the streets now for the last 18 months, fought a very close battle with Labour in one of the local seats. I think the interesting thing about UKIP is it's appealing to a very, very broad spectrum of people. I think the reason why the pollsters can't really call it at the moment is because the
the unknown quantity, if you like, are the people that haven't voted. A, haven't voted, or B, haven't voted for 20 years. And I think if we mobilise and motivate those people enough, and they realise the impact that they can have on this election, I think UKIP will do very well. I mean, we polled 4.1% in the last general election, and we didn't really contest it. You know, we didn't canvass, we didn't do a fraction of the activity that we're doing now. So I will be extremely disappointed if we didn't do extremely well in Preston. And the support that we're getting from people on the streets, from teens to little old ladies, you know, and everything in between, especially a lot of the blue collar, who feel that, you know, they've given the Labour Party under Tony Blair an awful long, they feel let down. And of course the coalition, they can come out with as many statistics as they want, but in terms of real terms, the real difference to people's lives, they ain't feeling it here. So it's no point. Westminster research has been parachuted into Preston telling us what a wonderful time we're having here, when the reality is completely different.
So also, obviously UKIP being the fourth biggest party, which is Ofcom is what they've said that you are now, is returning more from a two-party system that we had back in 2005-2010 into a multi-party system, with obviously SNP being a lot better now. Green's got a bit of a surge too. So I was wondering what your opinion would be on some sort of electoral reform so it's more favourable.
Without question, that's the reason I got involved in politics. That's the reason why I voted in 2010. For the first time, electoral reform is long overdue in this country. We need to get with it in terms of, you know, every advanced Western society, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Germany, they're not only economically strong, vibrant societies, but they're also socially very developed societies, integrated societies. So the more that you take deprivation out of a society, the more equality that you're going to bring to it.
Yeah, definitely. And I was just wondering if you get a quick quote, just so I can put it in my assessment, just like what, in like, you know, short sentences, what you would do for the local people in Preston.
I would represent them, I would listen to them, I would live amongst them, and I would always be contactable. So I intend to be a lot more involved in local issues. I'm not saying that international issues aren't important, they are when you've got a university, but I would be a lot more hands-on in my constituency. For example, the same as Douglas Carswell, who's recently joined our party, of course. I think MPs now really need to reflect the people that they represent.
It's a big push for that.
Yeah, really, and that goes for all parties, not just ours.
It's a big push for that in the local community, and I've been out, not canvassing, but I've been out talking to a lot of the voters on the street from the assessment for records, basically, and you'd be surprised the amount of people that do want a completely different job from politics.